Time for more CEX fun. Today is Aylesbury and Hemel Hempstead. Let's see what I picked up. Welcome to PS Too Many Games.
ES Too Many Games.
Hello guys, welcome to PS Too Many Games, the channel asks some strange questions. This week's strange question: what is your favourite Dynasty Warriors game? For me, it's number 5. Just an opinion. Seriously, welcome to another episode of PS Too Many Games. This week we are talking CEX Aylesbury and CEX Hemel Hempstead. Both stores proved to be quite decent. But before we get to the main event of this episode, let's talk about last week's episode, the CEX Oxford episode. An episode that proved quite divisive. Well, I say divisive. The vast majority of people seem to enjoy it. and it turned out to be one of the most viewed episodes on this channel. So for those who watched it, thank you very much. There were some people who thought I was a bit harsh in my criticism of CEX Oxford, and you may be right, but I was still somewhat angry at the time I lost in that channel, lost in that store. So, is it as bad as I thought it was? Yes, it is. I can't let it go, I'm sorry.
Oh, really? That sucks. That's, I mean...
Anyway, briskly moving on. But in seriousness, thank you for watching last episode. It was one of the most popular episodes we ever had. Also proved to be the most, how can I put it, spread. So, if any of you don't understand like YouTube like analytics, I look at it occasionally, only occasionally. I don't look at it every day. That's when you really get too addicted to this stuff. But it tells you like unique viewers to people who like rewatch episodes. Basically, last week's episode was the most, how can I put this? There was more different people watching it than there was people watching it multiple times. So basically, we had more unique watchers than any other video we've ever had, which has got to be a positive. But what I didn't realise is that some people like watch certain episodes multiple times, which is cool. I just didn't really think someone would watch episodes multiple times, but I appreciate that. Thank you. Also, it's good. I'm now getting to that point where I'm getting comments from like episodes from like 6 months ago, and I'm having to try to remember, because I like to reply to most people's comments if they're like friendly, and I'm trying to remember like certain aspects of certain episodes. So I had to go rewatch my own episodes to remember. It is weird rewatching your own stuff, especially from like 6 or 8 months ago when we weren't half as good as we are now. And by good, I mean we've gotten better. We're still not what we'd call fantastic. Honesty at BS Too Many Games. Honesty. Anyway, let's get back to the actual main event of this episode. CEX Aylesbury and CEX Hemel Hempstead. Both stores were actually fairly decent. But I mean, the Aylesbury CEX was... You know, there are certain CEXs you go into and you can tell they're franchises. Because the setup is exactly the same as all other CEXs. Literally, you go to a CEX, there will always be like... Windows will be on the left, there'll be like 2 aisles down the middle, and they'll always be set up in the same kind of unique setting. You can always tell when there are like unique CEXs, ones that are actually owned by a CEX, because the setups are completely different. They literally set up how they want to set up. So, you know what I mean? So Aylesbury and Hemel Hempstead seem to be like unique ones, which is always good, because sometimes we get like... And I found this to be the truth in, like, I think it was Southampton, where I went to 2 different CEXs and the setup was literally identical. From, like, Southampton to Portsmouth, like literally from row to row. You can count the rows and exactly the same as they would have been in Southampton, that kind of thing. It's a bit sad that I know this kind of stuff. Just shows how many times I've gone to CEXs, Jesus. It's just like... I'm not a proud man.
I'm not a proud man.
But anyway, Aylesbury, and hopefully you see in the video footage, the... one I might have rushed, I'm sorry. The setup is unique, and I like uniqueness. You don't want to be the same, you want to stand out. Stand out! Stand out! Stand out! Firstly, CEX Aylesbury. Firstly, the staff seem to be quite friendly and quite knowledgeable, which is always very good, because it makes the store better. It makes it a much better place to shop. Before we move on, well, there's a comment from last week. I can't remember the gentleman. He's a nice guy. But he gave the opinion that if you're getting paid a minimum wage at CEX, why would you work hard? In reference to the people at Oxford who weren't working that hard. And I understand that opinion, but then again, I will state this. I worked for 8 years on minimum wage at a retail store. I left them about 3 or 4 years ago. I always tried in my previous jobs, and I tried in this job. It's called my current job, my best job I had. Just stating that. I never half-ass anything, apart from building a shelf, apparently. But main things, I try not to half-ass. Jesus Christ, yeah, I try not to. I do things in Jesus mental breakdown. Help me, Dave. Help me. Cut it, Dave. Slow it down. Anything I try to do when I'm is a job, I try to do the best of my abilities. There are some days where I'll be like, but that's rarely. I genuinely try to work hard. Try is the word. Sometimes you have days where you can't do anything right, and I've had those days. Trust me, I've had those days. But the opinion that if you're getting paid minimum wage, you half-ass your job. No, that doesn't wash for me. I'm sorry. And for that gentleman who gave that opinion, that's not a criticism. We all have opinions. It's just I believe if a company's paying you to do a job, which you decided to take the job in the first place, you should try to do your job properly. That's all I'm saying.
No, not this time. It's totally made up. Pure fiction. It's fiction. It's fiction. We made it up. We made this one up. It's a made-up tale. It's a total fabrication.
Before we get into a little side note, that same job I mentioned where I worked 8 years, that's where I met Dave. So that job did help me in the long run. Just saying. Hemel Hempstead CEX proved to be the better of the two CEX for actual game buying, and I've never seen it. And maybe it's just unique. You can tell it's something unique because when you walk in, you look up. There's a sign saying "Welcome to CEX Hemel Hempstead," and I think I recorded it. I've never seen that in any other CEXs before, so that must be just like a unique thing. I kind of liked it, and to be honest, probably the best of the 3 CEXs I went to in the day. This obviously Oxford Gay and Market Day. By far the best one was Hemel Hempstead, and we're going to find out why after this commercial break. Shablagoo.
Shine this up real nice, jabroni. And I know just where to stick it, Ron. What's your name?
It doesn't matter what my name is.
The Rock smells what you're cooking.
Pancakes, Rock! Pancakes!
Lay the smackdown in the kitchen, the loading dock, even the boiler room. Plus storylines and special guest referees. Everything inside the ring and almost anything out. WWF SmackDown. Rated T for teen, jabroni.
Finally, The Rock has come back to PlayStation.
PlayStation.
And we're back. Welcome. You know, I like to think I got a good sense of humour, but sometimes when you laugh at yourself, and I laugh at myself too often, keep your morale high sometimes. Anyway, let's get into the games. There are 6 games in total from both CEXs. We only actually got 1 from Aylesbury because I had everything else. But to be honest, this game has been eluding me for some time, and Dan's significant other has been mentioning this game to me for a while because every time I pass it, she gets annoyed. So this one's for you, Jackass the game. I never knew they had a game, and I paid a tenner for this, which I've got mixed feelings for. I don't know if this is any good, this game, but I'm assuming this is just, I won't say shovelware, but I will say minimal effort was put into this game. I could be wrong, but I don't think £10 in 2024. There's not many games I buy where I feel like I pay a little too much, but this time I was like, maybe? Obviously the original Jackass team was pretty good, but obviously I think one of them passed away. Bam Margera is complete. I think he's insane now, Bam Margera. I could be wrong, but I think Bam Margera went insane. He was always a bit of a nutcase. Steve-O was always a bit weird. Johnny Knoxville is Johnny Knoxville. I can never remember. Wee Man, that's right, Wee Man. The what is the political correct term for a person who is short? I'm not going to say anything, Dave. If you could splice that underneath what the politically correct term is, because I don't want to offend no one, please. Please save me, Dave. You know, my paranoia for offending anyone, it's pretty strong. Because I like to be friendly to all people, so unless you just outrightly trying to insult me online in like the comment section, then I'll just delete your comment because you're not going to get anywhere that way, my friend. Trust me, last week someone tried. Amount of trolls I had. Oh, you know what? We're going to talk about it. So there was a troll comment from last week's episode. I don't usually mention comments. I mentioned one earlier, but this is the funniest comment I ever had for someone trying to get me like worried or paranoid. So there was a comment, but hopefully Dave will splice the whole comment somewhere underneath. But this person said he was part of the CEX legal team, and they were going to be in touch for defamation. Right? Okay. Firstly, the CEX legal team wouldn't put comments on random videos, especially very small YouTube channel videos. Secondly, his name was one letter away from legendary wrestling manager Jim Cornette. He was called Jim Cornette.
It's my personal enjoyment at this advanced age to remind everybody at every opportunity that he's a liar. I will live to piss on his grave.
So clearly he's got a troll name, right? And whether you like Jim Cornette or dislike Jim Cornette, there's two different sides. He's clearly either a fan of Jim Cornette or he hates him. He's just using his name in disgust, right? So that's reason number 2. Reason number 3, and hopefully Dave will show this, he spelled defamation wrong. He can't spell. From the legal team, and you can't spell? Raise critical eyebrow, maybe? But reason 4, if you are seriously spending your time trying to troll an incredibly small YouTube channel just to get a response, question marks need to be raised, really, on how you're spending your time. I don't criticise people very often, but this person... And if you are like a hard subscriber and watching months, thank you, but your comment came across very trolly, very trying to get me upset, trying to like make me worry. And if you didn't mean that, I apologise, but if you did mean that, it ain't gonna work. I can make that fairly clear. Troll comments will never work. Anyway, back to this. Let's get the Hemel Hempstead now with the 5 games. These are actually, some of these games I've never heard of, so this should be interesting. Game number 1, King of Clubs. As you can see, $2.50 paid. I have no idea what kind of game this is. But apparently, it's a golf game. Why would you go for, like, American Midwest golf, like, motif? Because I don't know if it looks like it should be like Arizona or Phoenix. Yeah, no, Arizona. But quite a weird concept of a game to make. I know golf games are very popular, but yeah. Do I class that as shovelware? I don't think I would, because it's kind of like a sports motif and they really tried to it, so I can't call it shovelware. Anyway, strange. Game number 3, Madagascar 2, Escape Africa. Now, to be honest, I'm kind of shocked it took this long to find this game, because you would have thought certain like children's games are actually quite popular. Like the original Madagascar game, that's one of the most common games I see. You can find that bloody anywhere. But this one was hard to find. I'm assuming because it was near the end of the PS2 game life, PS2 console life, you know what I mean? But if anyone's seen the film, they're reasonably decent films.
Whoops.
We're fine. If you're going to drop the game, drop the cheap shit. Game number 4, and a game that actually kind of intrigues me. Puzzle Quest. Now, first of all, the artwork for this game actually looks like there's some effort being made, which is always good. Obviously, it's a puzzle game. I don't know, it's like I know I can pronounce this. Puyo kind of puzzling game. Because obviously you can't do Tetris, because that's obviously legally distinctive. But I always like puzzle games, anything that gets like your brain going. And the fact they put some like decent artwork into it, and it costs £6, so it can't be that like, you know what I mean? It can't be like any shovelware. So to be honest, I might try this, and hopefully Dave finds some splice footage for this. But I'm kind of intrigued by Puzzle Quest. I'm very happy with that one. An ultimate game, Hummer Badlands, £8 pay for this one. Now, I know Hummers were popular for a brief time in the early 2000s. I don't know if they're popular now, but for those of you who don't know what a Hummer is an incredibly large 4x4 vehicle that the Americans seemed to enjoy in about the early 2000s. Honestly, the wheels were massive. It was like a reasonably long 4x4. Obviously, you can't tell by the size of my wrist, but you had to Google it. But they were incredibly hard to drive. Their turn circuit was abysmal. They did like 3 miles to the gallon. They were not meant for British roads, and I've only seen one, and that was a Hummer limousine, because that's kind of Hummer limousines are kind of cool. But I think the most famous person I knew who owned a Hummer was Schwarzenegger, obviously, Terminator Man himself. On a side note, every time I see Schwarzenegger try to act these days, I just like, just stop, Arnie, please. But on the bright side, my second most favourite, it's so bad it's good film to watch, is Commando. You know what? Commando is a good film, but it's so ridiculous. Especially the end when he got about half an army shooting at Arnie, who's walking very slowly, holding a heavy machine gun towards them, and none of them can hit him. He's very slowly coming at us.
They're very slowly getting away.
The last game of Hemel Hempstead CEX and the last game of the actual day from the Oxford Game Market, like Extravaganza, actually proved to be the most expensive game on my day. £35 pay for the next game, and actually a game I've been looking for some time. And I don't know if it's the same, but I've played the games before. Musashi Samurai Legend. Take one of those free. One of them must be right. But seriously, £35 pay for this. This game, I've played Brave Fencer Musashi. I don't know if it's the same thing, but these are actually well-made games. And the fact you got to pay £35 in this day should tell you they're reasonably well-made games. If anyone's never played a Musashi game, if you like that kind of like cell animated graphics, that kind of thing, I would recommend them. I've never played this version, so I will happily be playing this at some point, but very happy to find it. As you can tell, £35 paid, manual fully intact, disc is absolutely immaculate, so very happy to have that. Any kind of Square Enix game will always reasonably made well, apart from Unlimited Saga apparently. For those of you who warned me that the game was bad, yeah. Correct. And I'm so sorry, but it was, yeah, I was disappointed too. Anyway, so throughout the whole like Oxford Game Market free CXs, we picked up roughly between, I ain't in the full count, but it's either 27 games or 28 games. But anyway, we're now sitting at 1,468. We are rapidly approaching 1,500. For those of you who are actually curious what the official number is, there are many different official numbers. The lowest I've heard is something like 2240. But to be brutally honest, that's not official. That's not real, because there's at least 2,400 on a different list I've known. And if you account other things like limited editions and those like versions where you get like 2 games in the same thing, it could get like to 2,500. So to be honest, we are roughly under 1,000 games away, which scares the piss out of me, because to be honest, once again, I struggle to find games now, and there's supposedly another 1,000 out there. Oh, shit. But still a lot of rare games I haven't got, like expensive games, but we know they exist. There's still a lot of obscure games, like the stuff no one kept. Once again, things that really are hard to find. A lot of shovelware. They're far harder to find than some of the rare games. I mean, finding a Rule of Rose, which I said the first time, goddamn, finding a Rule of Rose is going to be actually significantly easy, because A, there always seems to be at least 1 or 2 copies being sold online. B, people are always going to sell the expensive games rather than the cheap games online, so obvious reasons. Oh, by the way, there's a lot of Rule of Roses online being sold. I am almost certain over half of them are fake. Be careful. Seriously, be careful. They are everywhere. Someone asked me, will we get the British version of Rule of Rose? I will get any European version of Rule of Rose as long as I can play it in some kind of form of English. Because at this point, A, I want to make sure it's real. And B, I want to get it for a decent price. And by decent, I mean I don't want to pay CEX prices, because they are taking the piss. So what's coming up in the future? So I'm probably going to do some kind of CEX episode soon, like pricing episode. I haven't done one for a while. I had someone ask, well, can you do one every month? I wish I really could do one every month. But the problem with that is CEX price changes are like the wind. You don't know when they're coming, but when they come, bam, they hit you. And my hand hurts like hell. Oh my god. Secondly, sometimes the price changes are so minute it's not really worth talking about. But when it's noticeable, I will talk about it again. But the next big field trip, well, I say field trip, the next like travelling for me will hopefully be in about 2 weeks' time. Once again, it will be me and Dan. We are hoping to tackle 3 CXs in one day. This will be the Lincolnshire Adventures. So consequently, we're trying to hit Lincoln, Boston, and Skegness in one day, which should be quite easy to do, to be honest, because A, they're closer than Oxford was, so travelling won't be an issue. And to be honest, getting to Lincoln isn't that hard compared to Oxford, where they go across half the country. It's only about 2.5 hours away from where I actually live. So that's going to be interesting, because I've never been to Lincoln, and Lincoln's one of the oldest cities in the country. So I'm curious if there's any like retro game stores in Lincoln besides CEX. I'm going to Google the shit out of that. But anyway, yeah, so Dan will be with me in that one, because Dan's not been to Lincolnshire either. You know, it's kind of hilarious, right? I've been to Scotland, I've been to Portsmouth, I've been to Bristol, I've been to a lot of CEXs, but not the ones closest to me, like Lincoln. Logic. Also, next month I will be taking a week in the Midlands just to get away and like chill, you know what I mean? So I will be very close to a lot of Midlands, like Northamptonshire, Corby, like CEXs. So I'm probably going to hit some of them. But depending on finances, we will see if that happens. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up this week. Thank you for watching, guys. Please comment, like, subscribe. For those of you, about 25 who subscribed last week, thank you. That video was far popular than I thought it was going to be. And I still don't know what... I do this for fun still, and I always do it for fun, because financially this channel makes no money. No, seriously, we've been monetized for like 2 months and we have not made 20 quid yet. Fact. But so there's always going to be for fun, because this channel will never be financially worthwhile just doing it by itself. But anyway, generally speaking, the channel is still growing, and I want to see how far we go before I just get to the point where it's like stagnation starts hitting. So yeah, I'm still enjoying this. A year and 15 months in, I'm still enjoying this, which is always a good sign, because I have been warned by other YouTubers, you will get to the point where you will hit the wall, like for like a month, you will just be like, hasn't happened yet. So that's good to know. Anyway, thank you for watching. Have a good... Why the hell did I just slam that? I did not know. Just going to back away from that one. Thank you for watching. Have a good rest of the day. I'll see you later, guys. Shaka bra.